Hey everybody, this is Kohdok here. Well, it's the holiday season, and because of that, it's actually gotten pretty hard for me to get some review samples in order to show off on the show, and that's because, you know, every respectable blogger and reviewer is busy asking for samples in order to check out the new holiday toys, so it hasn't been that easy. Fortunately, Jakks Pacific has started returning my phone calls again, so hopefully something interesting can come of that in the future. I am also making arrangements to go to the upcoming New York Toy Fair coming up this February. My original application kind of got destroyed by Hurricane Sandy. My heart goes out to anybody who was affected by that, by the way. But hopefully things will get back on track and I'll be there and I'll get to meet a whole bunch of executives and hopefully I can get into the ranks of the reviewers that they kind of keep on their minds about things to review the products, and we can get a whole lot of stuff on this channel, and I think that would just be great, as long as, you know, I don't blow it. Anyway, today I figured I'd talk about something that has actually shown up in a lot of my reviews, and that is merchandise-driven entertainment. Merchandise-driven entertainment is a unique brand of entertainment which is developed solely to support a product, as opposed to things you see like movie licenses or stuff like that, where it's like, here is a movie or show, make a product for it. In this case, it is, here is a product, make a movie or show for it. Merchandise-driven entertainment has, it was really popular in the 80s with stuff like Transformers. It got really popular again at the turn of the millennium, and it's actually gotten pretty popular right now. Now, it got really popular in the millennium years, partly because of Pokemon, but also partly because of the internet and the ability to release these things called webisodes. The internet has created freedom unlike ever before for a company to reach you with content. In particular, with merchandise-driven media, what the internet allows you to do is create content that you're sending straight to your viewers. You don't have to worry about the restrictions or the rules or the huge risks involved with creating a syndicated show. Heck, you could make a cartoon that is only instructions on how to play with the toy. Even apps these days have been getting their own TV shows and webisodes and stuff like that, and it's just been crazy. On the other hand, there are benefits to syndication in that you get a wider audience automatically because it's tied to hopefully a large television station, and you actually have to put a bit more care into the product, so you actually have to create a good, interesting show, especially these days, in order to keep it on the air. I try to keep telling myself that despite some toy companies' best efforts. Now, what I really want to talk about today is the North American companies, the companies on this continent that have had a lot to do with merchandise-based entertainment. I'm talking about like Hasbro and Mattel and places like that. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are asking, why don't I talk about the stuff that comes out of Japan, like by Bandai and Takatomi, because isn't the stuff that comes out of Japan, like Beyblade and stuff like that, usually better than what's made in the US? That depends, because I assure you, the people in Japan, they have to walk through about as much garbage that is made in their country as we do in ours. There is an incredible amount of really, really bad stuff made in Japan, and we only tend to see the best of it because companies here only want to invest in something that has the potential to be successful in order to go through the time and trouble with the licensing and the importing and all that stuff in order to bring it here. They want to do it with something that is probably a sure thing rather than something that is a huge risk. That, and if I brought up all the Japanese companies, I'd have to bring up all of the other companies in the other parts of the world, like Jochi Preciosi and Draco. Draco? Really? The company that I only know for making the very obvious knockoffs My Philly Princess and Dracospin? That company is making a TV show? Wow. So anyway, back to the North American companies. When it comes to merchandise-driven entertainment, by far the standard has got to be Hasbro. Hasbro is the gold standard, and it actually has been for a while because a whole lot of its business model relies on media-driven entertainment. It has since the 80s with My Little Pony and Transformers, which are still two of their most popular franchises today. They, in fact, create so much merchandise-driven media that they actually have an entire TV channel dedicated to it called The Hub. Now, one of the reasons I consider Hasbro to be the gold standards is because their media is usually fairly well done. It's usually written with its own purpose, kind of on its own and for its own sake, particularly with shows like Transformers Animated and My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. It is written to sell a toy, yes, but it is given a level of quality that far surpasses your average merchandise-driven show. Following Hasbro is the continent's largest toy maker, Mattel. Mattel is, they're a bit closer to Hasbro in regards to quality of entertainment, but a lot of it for them is, what it is it's basically something to promote something that will probably sell really well anyway. Like the Barbie movies are especially guilty of this. They're often made fairly cheaply for computer animated movies, and they're mostly there just to be a little add-on for whatever the Barbie line for that year is. The webisodes and Monster High push the bar up a little bit, but they're still kind of awfully stereotyped, with these girls mostly having an obsession with friends, fashion, and boys. So I really wish they could kind of push and take risks with that. Imaginext too. I think if they made Imaginext for its own sake, rather than just to show off the toys, tried to put it on syndicated television, it could be My Little Pony Friendship is Magic for Boys. It's got a fantastic premise, it's got a nice diverse cast, and it has so much potential to create scripts for. I think it could actually do pretty well on like Nick Jr. or something. The problem, though, is I don't think we're going to see this happen, because the last time Mattel took a big risk and made a television show that I can remember, it was Hot Wheels Battle Force 5, and I don't think that did for them quite what they wanted. After that, we have MGA, and I'm listing MGA after Mattel because MGA follows in a lot of Mattel's footsteps. A lot of them, particularly like the new Bratzillas and Nobi Stars, look a whole lot like the Monster High things, that it's really just an unavoidable comparison to make. They could probably push the bar a little bit on what they made. If they did that, I think they could probably actually come up with something pretty interesting if they do something to diversify themselves a little bit more from Mattel. They have been trying to do that recently by licensing Scan-to-Go. It's okay, it's more funny in an ironic way rather than serious, but for first try, it's not too bad. And then we have Jakks Pacific, who's also a pretty big newcomer to making their own merchandise-based toys, if I remember correctly. Monsuno, it's okay, but really Jakks tends to do things the other way around. They're more like, here's a show, let's make toys for them, like they do with Winx Club and Tinkerbell and stuff like that. Usually, they make the licensed toys, which is kind of their bread and butter. It's kind of a learning curve, really, for how they're doing it. And of course, we have our old friend Spin Master, who, because of the success of Bakugan, suddenly think they're great at everything, but really it's more like they're running around blindly in the dark, flailing their arms, hoping that they'll collide with the next smash hit, and I really don't think it'll work that way. It's how it's been with their toys recently, too. Really, who thought Squishy Bath was going to take off? So that's kind of a quick overview for the toy companies that have been doing these sorts of merchandise-driven things for now. There is a reason I'm talking about this, and that's because a lot of you guys know that my dream is to make a living in the toy industry, which hopefully going to Toy Fair this coming February can help me with. But my really big dream is to work on merchandise-based television, or something in that line of entertainment, because I feel that kids' entertainment, I feel the bar can be pushed on that, whether it is made on its own, or if it's made specifically to sell a product. I believe everything made children's entertainment can be made well. It's the premise that Lauren Faust started off with My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and it is paying off quite well with both its target demographic and its periphery demographic, which proves that if you make something entertaining for everyone, that it can be successful with both its target demographic and people you might not expect. That's really what I emphasize whenever I talk about merchandise-driven television in my reviews, and I'm going, come on, toy companies, show us you can make some awesome entertainment, because I find that when a show is written well, it tends to do well with everybody. Well, that's my rant on merchandise-driven entertainment. Hopefully we'll be getting back around into toy reviews very soon if my talks with Jakks Pacific can net me some cool stuff. Anyway, until then, this is Kohdok signing off.